Probably was over in Spokane, snorted something he shouldn't, and he found himself here.
Yeah, that guy happens quite often.
Yeah, which first off...
I was going to do it either
My boss
way.
put me on a shooter hunt. You got to check this out, Mike. Mike, you got to check this podcast out, so I gave it a listen. The episode I listened to was 38, and it was talking about murder bunnies. I'm sitting there on shrooms. Next thing you know, man, I'm put the fear in them bunnies' eyes, man. I ripped their hearts out. It was ferocious, but I was faster. I was quicker. I moved quick. I swift. Ate the souls, man. I ate the souls. Nothing was stopping Iron Mike. I'm crazy, and no one understands me but me. I'm not even a hunter, but sometimes I just listen to them. There is a reason the shoot to hunt exists. Don't say I didn't tell you so. Mike out.
Wait, hey, before we start, what is it about the sausage egg McMuffin that's so badass?
Dude, it is my favorite breakfast item from any fast food place for sure. Once you get into like custom breakfast, there's some shit that's better. Like I could probably cook something at home that I would like more, but for fast food breakfast, that is the all-around
King
of the breakfast sandwiches.
I think you're wrong. Like, my personal fast food breakfast is usually the neighborhood dog that's going down the road.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm going
Good
for
Lord.
it. I get my workout in, and I get a big meal of protein. It's awesome.
That's Chris Yoon.
Gooner.
The Uner, or the Eunuch, if you want.
The
Yes.
eunuch.
The
Oh,
eunuch.
shit.
Gooner the Gooner by some here in the shop.
Dude.
So we went right past the sausage egg McMuffin, right to dog.
Right to-
and you
yeah.
said you were going to bring in your cat.
That,
for,
that-
yeah, yeah,
that pretty
yeah.
much set the precedent for the rest of the podcast
yeah.
right there.
For those listening, I'm Asian. If you couldn't pick that up by my last name.
He's actually looking at the fucking camera.
oh, right in the
He is
dead-eyed.
he just looked at the camera like he's had training.
Dead-eyed it.
You know, I've had some experience being online.
Okay.
I think my online
Like-
presence might be ruined.
OnlyFans?
Not quite. I would
Only
prefer. I
Asians.
would have preferred OnlyFans.
Only
I-
Asians.
Dude,
Yeah.
Hey, who is that? There's a comedian. There's a famous comedian right now. He's a white guy. He's got kind of brown, kind of curly hair. Well, they walk in on him, and it's some show that he's on, and he's on one of those fucking horse straddle like woman machines.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what they call it, but it looks like
dude, that's a Sibian.
Okay,
Sibian.
Yeah.
So there's a look at you two. You way too much porn for you guys. There's a Sibian on the floor, and he's on it, and he has kind of like a flannel button up, but it's
Yeah.
unbuttoned, and the rest is open.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he's sitting on it, and his family walks in on him, and he just said, "They're like, what are you doing? This is my new job. I needed to."
Honestly, if someone came up to me right now
Oh.
and said that they would pay me money to like do just weird sexual things,
Oh my
I'm sorry,
God.
Jake, but like
You
if the
would be
money's
glad-
good,
Oh my God.
yeah, I like
You're out.
like if someone just said like, hey, 10 grand a week, like all you have to do is like pee on a McChicken and eat it, like
Good Lord. That's pretty nasty.
I didn't know Chris at all, and we started testing suppressors about, I don't know, when you got hired a couple months. How long have you been here? 3, 4, 5?
I've been here since January.
Okay,
yeah,
six months.
Yeah. So Jake hired me right before the DEI stuff got knocked down. So I made it just in time.
Well, I was like, you don't know people, and you don't want to bust any jokes in front of people. And then we're talking about eyeglasses, and you said, do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said I got barely any vision, so I want to preserve what I got. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the
But
first.
that was like the first time he opened his mouth in front of everybody, though.
Yes.
He just
Yeah.
straight cracked on himself, and then it was all downhill from there.
It was. And then it was like Asian joke after Asian jokes. And I
Yeah.
was like, and then I clicked, and I didn't know this. I'm like, the dude had to be in the military.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
you're cracking jokes.
Yeah. 6.5 years, man. Like, I don't think I went anywhere in my military career with at least one person come up to me and like trying to guess my race. Like, you know, I have a Korean last name. I have dark skin. I talk like a white guy. And it's just like, who is this motherfucker? Like,
You're American, that's all.
yeah.
There you go.
Hey. Both my parents were immigrants. They got drunk one night in a bar, and here I am now. It's probably the best thing that could have ever happened because I'm a U.S. citizen, the only country in the world that matters.
Mm.
Like, I'm not sure where you've been in your career, but visiting some other places, you know, indoor plumbing, very valuable. I really enjoy that. Laying a little bit more of my Asian side out.
Yeah.
I have a bidet.
How about being able to flush the toilet paper?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
You have a bidet?
People
Bidet is the best thing ever.
people take that shit for advantage. So being able to drink the water out of the faucet and being able to flush your toilet paper are two things that people take for granted.
I think people should have to go overseas and travel before they can vote.
Yeah.
It'd be a different world.
Oh,
Or like you
100%.
said, the indoor plumbing part, or even the hot water part. Like people don't even realize, like in the U.S., it was like 1950 or something before people had hot water, before everybody had hot water in their houses.
Mhm.
So you were taking cold, not a lukewarm shower, a fucking cold shower, no matter what you did.
I will say, when I was in Central America, even when we didn't have water heaters, as long as you showered during the afternoon, your water was hot. But
Okay.
the whole shower was, because it was just a fucking oven in there, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
just going to take a shot in the dark that your parents are South Korean.
I mean, my dad. If you want to get
His
real
dad
technical,
is the man,
yeah.
Kim Jong.
Not that guy.
Kim Jong Un. Thank you.
Yoon?
Well, we are supposed to be. We want to keep this podcast somewhat
Short and to the
traditional Q&A.
Yeah.
This is the podcast for you if you have no idea how to buy a fucking suppressor. That's basically it. So
talk about your job real quick, what you do for day in.
Yeah. So right now, primarily I'm the sales manager, but soon here I'm going to be taking over doing a lot of the NFA stuff. When it comes to it, buying suppressor is not that difficult. People get a little freaked out by it because, back in the day, it was a bit of a process. Silencer Shop has streamlined a lot of that, which we will be getting a kiosk here in our shop. I'm looking forward to that because the kiosk is going to be like the nicest thing to have for a Form 4. So kind of like walking through it from the start. When you find one that you like, you're going to go to the Silencer Shop kiosk. You can talk to me or any gun counter guy. They should know how to use it. And you're going to get the...
Oh, don't just jump into the process yet.
Okay.
First, we'd probably like to talk about which states, 42 states can. So there's 8 states that can't. Who are those 8 states?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a great
question. Do you
question.
know those off the top of your head?
I know California is one of them.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of Eastern Seaboard
If you
states.
don't know, the correct place to go is Unknown Suppressors FAQ section. We do answer that question for you, so I'll pull that up while you guys are talking here.
Pretty much any of the hardcore blue states.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. It's hard to be in one of those states. Honestly, if you want to own guns, you really shouldn't live in Cali, New York.
California, Delaware, D.C., Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. Fuck you
Fucking
guys.
communists.
Yeah.
Are we actually counting Rhode Island as a state? Like, I'm pretty sure I take shits bigger than Rhode Island.
We should also so we should what do you call that talk after? Anyways, we should talk about the bill that's in presented to the Senate at the moment, just because I've already got fucking text messages, DMs, emails, and phone calls already asking me what's going to happen if I buy this suppressor, and in the middle of the process they pass this bill. So basically the bill is to remove the suppressor from the NFA Act. That would mean you would not need to pay the $200 fee. Whether or not they're still going to be tracked through the FFL is an unknown to me or to anybody, I think, at this point. So it may still require some type of transfer like a weapon, or it may not. But you wouldn't have to pay the $200 and you wouldn't have to do SOT transfer and all that kind of shit. No more fingerprints, no more pictures. It would be removed from that process. But that's not going to change what you need to do with Unknown Suppressors to purchase an OG. You need to go on the fucking website. The most important thing is to secure your OG. The rest of the paperwork and stuff can come afterwards, correct?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so if you want to be one of the ones that gets the OGs that we drop, we're only going to be selling so many. The first step is to get on the website and buy one. The rest of the shit can be figured out.
Yep.
So...
And the question I've seen a lot and getting a lot is, well, what if I buy a suppressor and I buy that stamp and then they pass it? Well, that's not UM's money. That's not the suppressor's company's money. That's the government's money. It's up to them. They don't have any idea how they're going to give that back to you. So we can't answer that question.
Yeah, and what I speculate is going to happen, if this does go through, is anyone that's ever purchased a suppressor, they're probably not going to get their tax stamps back beforehand. But anything that's active, I imagine there's probably going to be some sort of process for that. Now, is the government going to make it easy? Probably not. It's probably going to be something that you're going to have to do on your own. In my mind, the easiest way to go about it, if this passes through and you have an active Form 4 going on, withdraw your Form 4. You just go to your FFL, you say, hey, I want to pull this out. You will get a refund in that case, but it does take about a year. The government really doesn't like giving away money. I don't know why I kept asking them, and they've never given me anything.
Well, I guess the real question is the harder way. So let's not do the kiosk first. Let's do, and I had this guy email me this morning, actually texted me. I want to buy a suppressor. I live in Alaska. The place where I live does not have any kiosks. How do I order it, and how do I know that it's going to go to the right place when I make that order on Unknown Suppressors?
Yeah. Yeah. And like overall, the buying process is going to be the same. Like it's just paperwork that changes depending where you're at and who you got available to you. But if we're doing it the old school way of filing a Form 4, what you're going to need to do, you're going to need to get passport photos. If you go to like a Walgreens, that's probably going to be the easiest place to get and try and go to the post office. You're also going to want to go to your sheriff's office and you're going to get 2 copies of fingerprint cards. That's going to be pretty important. And from there, your FFL.
Why 2 copies?
That's what ATF asks.
Oh, they asked for, so you actually have to send both of those copies in. It's not like one for you.
Yeah.
So passport photos, 2 copies of fingerprints from the sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the big confusing part, like why people are asking, basically, so from Unknown Munitions, Unknown Suppressors perspective here in Idaho, selling the OG suppressor as a manufacturer, if you do not live in Idaho, you're not our problem. I mean, to make it really simple for people, like if you're in Alaska and you're asking us what you're going to do, it is your SOT's responsibility to do all the paperwork with you, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what that means is if you don't live in Idaho, which he does not, we are going to ship your suppressor to somebody like us. Maybe they don't make suppressors, but they have an SOT. That business who has, you need to determine if they want to accept your suppressor, first of all. So like we have an SOT, and before we started making suppressors, we didn't want any suppressor sent here. So there are SOTs in the world that will not accept your suppressor for that type of work.
I have an SOT and I would never accept a suppressor.
So you want to find the SOT closest to your business or your residence that will accept a suppressor and do the paperwork for you. That's step number 1.
Yes, sir.
Well, technically step number 2, because you want to buy your suppressor first.
Of course.
So buy your suppressor and then find the closest SOT to your location that will accept your suppressor and do the paperwork for you. Then it goes on to the Form 4, fingerprint cards, photos, but that business is going to charge you a fee, and they should be helping you with that process. So as you're asking yourself, how do I buy a suppressor from Unknown Munitions or Unknown Suppressors, the first thing to say is, do I live in Idaho or not? If you don't live in Idaho, you're not our problem, technically.
Oh,
to make it really easy.
Not just Idaho, but if you just don't live near us.
Yes.
Because like if you're not in the Post Falls area, like it doesn't make sense for you to come to our shop and file a Form 4 when you're down like in Idaho Falls.
Boise. Yeah.
Boise. Yeah.
If you don't want to drive up to Boise, because then you got to come back here to get your suppressor.
Yep.
Or technically, if they're in Idaho, we can't ship it to them at that point.
Depends
on
how
our
they file.
business is in Idaho.
Yeah, it will depend on how they file. As an individual, I believe we could.
Yes.
But if they have a trust, we will need to run a 4473.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
there's another transfer after the trust.
I mean, there's a 4473 either way. It's just, as an individual, you bypass the actual NICS. But Form 4, you do have to run the process because technically anyone on that trust can pick up the suppressor.
So on the actual order form, when we're doing it the old school way, you go in, you purchase your suppressor, you put it in your cart. It says SOT. There's a line, for text. You put, in Alaska, it's going to Dick's Bait and Tackle. That's where it's going. What do you do after that?
Yeah. So it's going to be important for us to go ahead and get your FFL SOT's information. We can't get that anywhere without getting a Form 3 completed. We use e-forms here, so those Form 3s usually go by pretty quick. Shipping out, I would say, depending on production, if we have it in stock, I would estimate within 3 days we have that Form 3 ready to go.
We're contacting their SOT personally, though.
That was the question. Are they going to have the person that bought it's going to have them, the SOT, send it to you, Unknown Suppressors, or are we going to send that to Dick's Bait and Tackle?
I believe that as the manufacturer, we are going to verify every SOT in-house.
Yes.
Before it ships.
Which that will be done through the e-form process. Because when I go ahead and submit a Form 3, I'm going to put in their FFL and SOT, and that's going to validate it right there.
But what if they don't accept suppressors?
Well, then you're SO.
That's what I'm saying. I think we will be personally contacting each and every SOT before the suppressor ships with the invoice, basically to confirm that for that customer, they're willing to accept the suppressor.
Okay.
So that's a job that somebody's going to end up doing all the time for Unknown Suppressors, and that's kind of, their main thing that they're doing. But
I think that's the most unclear question that I keep getting is who contacts who?
Yeah.
It's still their job to put the SOT in. And to be honest with you, if If by the time June 2nd comes around and you're just trying to get in there and buy a suppressor, just put some gibberish there, or contact me, or I will email you next week or something like this. That's fine. I mean, we don't want it that way.
Right.
But if that's what it takes for you to buy one, then just put some gibberish in there.
But I mean, you're not finding the OG by accident. You should probably do a little bit of homework on your own and figure out an SOT that'll accept it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that would really be a first-time buyer, too. Most guys know where their local SOT is and who they prefer. Most people know, if they've ever had a suppressor, where the Silencer Shop kiosk is. So that's another point to bring up. So if you've already purchased a suppressor through Silencer Shop before, that means they have your fingerprints and your photos. How long is that good for?
Yeah, so your passport photo is good for a year. Most times, that's what people need to update when they're buying their can.
Your fingerprints?
3 years.
Fingerprints are 3 years.
Yeah.
So if you know your stuff is current, you're pretty much you're on the cutting edge at that point. All you're going to do is you can go on and buy the tax stamp, right? And then the paperwork starts, and then you're pretty much done.
Yeah. So that Form 4 won't generate until your FFL SOT receives that, and then they go ahead and submit it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Silencer Shop, they get that generated the moment it's assigned to your account, or they start generating it for you, I should say. Now, if you have an old school guy and he's either doing paper or e-forms, more than likely you're probably going to have to get new stuff, because it's only those digital copies.
He's not going to have it.
Yeah. And like, it's not like that ATF is going to send it back to you for next time.
So for the guy in Alaska, he can be prepared ahead of time, knowing where his SOT is. He can already get his fingerprints done at the sheriff's office, and he can already have passport photos done.
Yeah.
So then when that guy receives his suppressor, that SOT that he put when he checked out of the Unknown Suppressors cart, when that suppressor gets there, he walks in, he's got the shit that he needs to provide, and the rest of it is on the dealer.
Yep. That's
the best way to go about that.
Yeah, if you know you're in an area where you don't have access to Silencer Shop or e-forms, do yourself a favor. Just get fingerprint cards done now.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably going to be the longest process of the equipment that you have to get yourself. Because, like, passport photo isn't too hard. Like,
no. You usually got to get an appointment at the sheriff's and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So the other side of this is, if you do have a Silencer Shop kiosk in your area and you've never purchased before, no matter where you are in the country, even in Idaho, if you're going to buy in our store, set up a Silencer Shop account and set up an Easy Forms account before you get here.
And if someone just wanders in, like some Yahoo that like probably was over in Spokane, snorted something he shouldn't, and he found himself here.
Yeah, that guy happens quite often.
Yeah, which first off, can't sell you a firearm. Sorry, under the influence.
Or from Washington.
Yeah. But, like, if someone just walks in and, like, they just have, like, an impulse buy to buy a can, like, it's not hard to get it all set up. Like, I can get you started in the store. And, like, it, honestly, like, if I had to count the amount of times I have to see a person before they get their can back, it's probably 2.
Mm-hmm.
The first time when they set up their account, when they're doing the fingerprints with me, and then usually when they pick it up.
That's with the kiosk.
That's with the kiosk.
Okay.
Now, with that said, there might be a third time, and that's when we certify it and actually submit the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
But we can do that virtually too. You don't have to be in the store to submit it. Back in the day, when eForms first came out, if you were filing underneath a trust, you had to be in the physical FFL. I can't remember the exact change to it, but now anyone can call in. We can submit you virtually. You just have to be able to link up to the Silencer Shop full auto system, and then we can get you taken care of from there. So if you already have a Silencer Shop account, in theory, if you just pay me for everything, you don't have to walk in until you pick up your can.
So we strongly recommend trying to use a Silencer Shop kiosk.
But big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
If you don't want to be the guy that happens to walk in when there's 10 dudes in front of you all trying to buy suppressors, we did set up an appointment system through unknownmunitions.com. You would go to services and then to appointments, and you can schedule a suppressor purchase appointment for an hour, and you'd have Mr. Uner would be on deck to help you out and get all that figured out. That includes June 2nd. There are like 8 slots or so left, and I haven't looked if anybody took those spots yet. But if you're a hardcore guy, you might jump on there and reserve an appointment for June 2nd because you would be, there's a few left. Yep.
Enhance your shooting experience with Stocky Stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength in a lightweight build. Stocky's Stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand layup carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experience unmatched precision and durability with Stocky's Stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with Stocky's Stocks.
I just want everyone to know, usually I take Mondays off, and I'm coming in just for you. You're all very special.
Holiday.
Perfect.
The holiday edition
Yeah.
of Uner.
Yeah, you know what? I'll find something special to wear just for that day.
On the kiosk, Robbie, we did have help. Uner knew somebody down in Idaho Falls, but he said he actually thought it was far more intuitive than he would have thought. And this guy, Robbie, I love you and you know this, but you are a techno retard. And he said he probably could have figured it out without her, but he was damn glad she was.
Is that his first can?
First can ever. He walked
Okay.
in and Yoon hooked him up with
What
Maggie.
are we going to call these people? We're going to call them a can virgin?
Yeah.
I'm going to come up with a name. We'll leave that to Uner.
Yeah. I'm sure, but before the end of this podcast, I'll think of something.
Think of something that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of can virgins are going to come out of the works once, and mostly probably hunters.
Absolutely.
You know, suppressors really haven't penetrated the suppressor market as hard as the rest of.
No, and there's cheap motherfuckers that do not want to pay that $200. And
That'll definitely open a lot of people up.
Yeah, if that went away, if the fucking Senate votes right, that opens the floodgates.
Yeah, and even if they don't vote it on it and pass it, I really, like most time I tell people, your investment is not money, it's time. Like, you know, the longer you wait on doing this, the longer it's going to be before you can actually get one if you decide to do so. Like the best time to buy a suppressor was 9 months ago. Second best time is today.
What is the average wait time now? Do you know?
Last time I checked, it's anywhere between 2 weeks and 2 months. That's what we've been seeing, at least from what I've seen, like online and like looking at people's forums.
I think Silencer Shop has a page that they update
They do.
for the.
Yep, they do. Is there any truth to the E-form is faster?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Now, I will say, before I came over here, I did submit one paper copy. And that paper copy actually did come back relatively quick for what we expect. But the downside to submitting physical Form 4s is that you have to mail it and it has to be mailed back to you. And the ATF drags their feet sometimes in that mail room. Like, I've seen like forms come back to me that were approved almost 2 months ago. And it happened too often, but it would happen from time to time. And I don't feel like the Postal Service is that slow themselves. I know they can be bad, but not that bad.
Gotcha. How many do you see denied very often?
Not too often. I did have one guy that got denied because in between A and B, he got hit with a drug charge. But that's more on him.
Yeah. If any felony pretty much takes you out of it.
Yeah. And like, okay, I was recently talking to a guy, and when he was a minor, he was hit with a charge. It was it was knocked down from to a misdemeanor, and it was when he was I think 17. He said, and the court told him that it was going to get sealed and it was going to get wiped. So he should have been fine. But ever since then, he said that no one ever actually did their due diligence, and he's been having issues whenever he buys guns, and he's really nervous about buying a suppressor.
Well, if you already have an issue buying a gun, you're probably going to have an issue getting a suppressor.
More than likely.
Or if you have to sit back and ask yourself, do I think they're going to give me a suppressor? That's probably the answer is probably no.
Yeah.
But
there's some shit you have going on.
You already probably fucking know when you walk in.
And the caveat I will say to that, talking to this guy, and like if you're in a situation like this, talk to your FFL SOT, or you can even call me up. But if you have documentation that shows that something wasn't done on your record that was supposed to, or that there was some sort of misunderstanding, or just some sort of legal document that shows that you have right to purchase these items, we can submit them with it. So that way...
with the Form 4.
Yeah, so you're not completely SOL.
If you have some documentation that something was wiped from your record and it gives you some problems sometime, then bring some documents with you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and
and I believe it's domestic assault or domestic violence, a misdemeanor also can't get a suppressor.
Yeah, that's correct.
Can't get a rifle. Or can't get a firearm either, I believe.
Yeah. Now, if you answer yes to any of the questions on 4473, Well, you probably shouldn't have been in a gun shop to begin with.
Yeah. You know, right then there's going to be a problem.
Do you beat the fuck out of your wife? Yeah, probably can't get one.
Good Lord.
Wait,
SilencerShop.com.
are we not supposed to do that?
Form 4 wait times. Individual is 7 days average. Trust is 15 days average.
Wow.
Now, I will say, I love the guys at Silencer Shop, but that is usually what they see being the fastest. I wouldn't say it's the average.
Well, they do say, so they give a wait range of 3 days to 178, and then a median of 7. So they are averaging everything together. There's at least some type of calculation.
That is
there.
absolutely insane to me that we are down to that much time for a Form 4.
Yeah.
Like,
that's quick.
What that means? So if you're a can virgin, what that means is when you come in and you purchase your suppressor and you get all of your Form 4 stuff done with your fingerprints and your photo, and it's signed and submitted. That means 7 days later you get to come back and pick it up on average. That's fucking amazing. It used to be 9 months, 12 months, 18 months. It could have been any number, really.
Oh, fuck. People waited 18 months a lot.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what you get. So that means that if you come in the store and purchase one, that means just 1 week later, you'll be able to come back and pick it up and it's yours.
I mean, I heard a story from some of my old friends at some other gun shops. They submitted a Form 4, and like the guy was leaving the store, and they had to flag him down because almost in 10 minutes it came back
approved.
Yeah.
No shit.
Mm.
When ATF updated their e-forms, they put in an automatic system in there, and that thing just turns forms back and forth.
Okay, how about explain the difference between an individual and a trust and why to do each one?
Okay, yeah. So individual, pretty straightforward. It means that you are the sole responsible person for your NFA item. Now, other people can use your NFA item, but you have to maintain what's called loose control. So like, if I had an individual can and you and me, Jake, went shooting, you can take my rifle, you can shoot my can, but I can't go too far away from you without being able to go ahead and take possession of that can at a moment's notice. Now, that's pretty annoying in my mind. So going to a trust is going to be the better option. So there's two types of trust that people usually file, traditional and single shot. The basic idea of either one is you're able to go ahead and file not as a individual, but as kind of like an entity. So whatever your legal documentation is kind of the owner of the suppressor, not so much you yourself. But that enables you to put other people in that trust with you that can take possession of that suppressor without your supervision, as long as they are on the trust with a copy of the trust and the Form 4. And there's no limit to how long they can have that suppressor.
Is there any additional work to do beforehand if you're going to do a trust that can't be done here in the shop in person?
Yes, with traditional trust specifically. So if you want to do a traditional trust, you're going to have to get with like some sort of lawyer. I know Silencer Shop, they offer a traditional trust. You can go find a Second Amendment lawyer, talk to them.
Probably
have them
LegalZoom online and shit like that probably does it.
And they'll go ahead and draft it up. I highly recommend that you review your trust before you go ahead and make it yours, because you want to run in a way where it's going to let you add people onto a trust relatively easily. Now, for the most part, adding someone to a traditional trust, you're going to have to take them to a Silencer Shop kiosk. I'm not sure how any other methodology yet at this time. I'll figure it out for those who ask. But usually you could take them to the Silencer Shop kiosk, fingerprints, passport photo, get them uploaded onto an account, and then file for another Form 4 and get them onto the trust that way. Single shot, way easier. Now, that is solely through Silencer Shop. I don't know anyone else that's doing it at this time.
Single shot?
Single shot trust.
Okay.
So in a traditional trust, the binding document is the trust itself. Silencer Shop's lawyers worked really hard to find this loophole where now the binding document is actually the suppressor. And what that enables you to do is if you want to add someone to a trust, you go to a notary with your paperwork, have them signed, you sign, notary signs, that's it. They're on the trust.
Nice.
How much do they charge for that?
$25.
That's cheap.
But the downside to a single shot versus traditional, one trust per can, because the can itself is the binding item, not the trust.
Okay.
But for those who know that you're going to buy a lot of cans, get yourself a single shot unlimited. It's $130. Every time you file a Form 1 or 4, you get a single shot trust automatically with it.
He's like a Silencer Shop sales guy. He looks right into the camera.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, like, as much headache as I've had with the full auto system, I do not think I would ever work in NFA if it wasn't for those guys.
Yeah.
Like, they have done so much work to make this industry, like, so accessible to so many people.
I've never heard of that.
Well, if they go ahead and pass this fucking NFA suppressor deal, That's really going to. In fact, that brings up, was it Silencer Central that was caught lobbying against the Hearing Act?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
They issued a fucking straight up statement that said that we did not, but basically they funded a lobbyist who was lobbying against it. Correct?
Yeah, this is like TurboTax, man.
Yeah,
like I'm sure you guys remember, like TurboTax. Yeah, did you not hear about this? Like the government was going to like make taxing, like filing for taxes way easier, and TurboTax like looked at that like, nah, dude, I want to make some money. Paid a whole bunch of people off, lobbied against it. That's the reason why like I still use TurboTax begrudgingly, but
TurboTax is owned by QuickBooks. QuickBooks owns a lot of shit. And I don't know if somebody owns QuickBooks or how that works, but TurboTax and QuickBooks are the same owner.
Rips a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody that uses it.
Okay. Anything do you think the customer needs to know beforehand before we start talking about the OG specifically?
Don't do crime. Crime is bad. It won't get you guns or suppressors.
Don't do drugs, okay?
Yeah, okay. I would say if you're a first-time buyer and you don't know what you're doing, don't be afraid to ask someone at your FFL. Like a lot of these guys, they're pretty passionate about what they're doing. Like I said, you can always call me.
Yeah, I would just call it. Like if I'm in fucking Birmingham, Alabama, for example, and I've never bought a can and I know nothing about it, either find a buddy that knows or just call around to your FFLs. Just do gun shop in Google in Birmingham and call them, see if they have an SOT and if they do transfers. If they do, go into the shop. Don't be shy and ask some fucking questions, before you buy the OG.
And really, like, the people that are doing this, they've been doing it long enough that they know what to do for any situation.
They would say, just go on and buy that. They're going to send it to they're going to send it to us here. We're going to do the paperwork with you. We'll take care of everything. It's going to cost you $50 and blah, 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 and it's over.
Honestly, I wish I could tell people this, but like my customer service won't let me. So I'll do it on the podcast instead. Turn off your fucking brain and just do what I tell you.
There you go. Yeah. Like, they people tend to overcomplicate things, but in their defense, suppressors are scary, especially if you've never had one. The whole idea of NFA, Firearms Act, and tax stamps, and the movies tell you that suppressors are only used to kill people, and just all this bullshit, the stigma around suppressors, it does scare people.
Yeah, and like my mentality of it is no matter where your launching point is, the people that you're working with on this will get you to the right place.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know the process. They understand it. Like I said earlier, if Joe Schmo walked in, I'd help him through the whole process. Because ultimately, getting suppressors in people's hands is what's going to fight getting them off the NFA roster.
Oh, yeah. And that SOT that you're going to, they are going to charge you a fee. They're not doing this for free out of the goodness of their heart. They're going to make money off you
100%.
One way or another. So just that, that's a part of their business the same way that any other part of their business is, So they're making money on you. They're there to help as long as they're a good, if you don't like the shop you go into, find another one. But
so the easy button is to go to Silencer Shop, look up their kiosk locator.
Yes.
Chances are, I couldn't believe how many they have out in the world. Go to that store, go through the process of the kiosk. Boom, you're done.
Yeah, and honestly, like
I'm going to look right here for Birmingham. We'll see what comes up.
If you got options, if you got multiple Silencer Shop kiosks, like scope it out, man. See which one's going to treat you the best.
Does it matter? There's like there's gold kiosks and then there's standard. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so that's your Silencer Shop dealer status. And what that does is how many cans that dealer has bought. So not necessarily does that mean that they're more proficient in or anything like that. Because you can go to like a big lot box guy and like he buys 500 cans every year. He can be a platinum dealer. Doesn't mean that his people are good at what they do.
Right.
I'm the kind of guy that I really like a personalized experience when I go in and do anything. Like I want to talk to someone. I want to feel like I'm getting all my questions answered. Mm-hmm. I don't want like a corporate robot. I don't know if I'm kind of crazy for that, but like there's just like some people I just cannot stand being around. And that tends to be the more like company mindset people.
5 kiosks within 9 miles of Birmingham.
Yeah.
Just to give you an example.
How many are in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho?
Oh, let's see.
My guess is 7.
7?
Yeah, what do you think, Ryan?
Oh, within that map, probably 5.
I'm just going to type Post Falls.
Post Falls. And when does Unknown Munitions get theirs?
We're already on there.
Yeah, we are hopefully going to be getting ours.
5 fucking pages worth, but East County Guns is powered elite. They've been they get all those awards and shit for.
Yeah. Interesting.
Axis Manufacturing is on there in Post Falls. North Idaho Arms, AR Customs, Triple B Guns. I'm going to look where we're at though.
What's interesting about that is that kind of shows the point that it's not that hard to get to a kiosk if you really want one.
No,
Definitely
no,
not.
not at all. And like, there's so many options these days how to file your Form 4. Silencer Shop is not the only way. Going paper or just regular e-forms is not the only way. There's Silencer Central out there. There's a few other guys. Is it Capital Armory?
Capital Armory.
Yeah, Capital Armory.
Yep.
Like, there's so many people that have developed a way to file your Form 4 that, like, if you don't like one methodology, research the other. See what you have access to in your area.
If you want a can, there's lots of options. You're the fucking procrastinator. Get it done.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I truly think there's nothing better to have for a firearm than a suppressor. I'm not sure about you.
Me and you are on the same page. Jake was a late adopter. He was fucking kind of hemming and hawing about it, and now he's fucking making suppressors. Look at the guy go.
Yeah. This is also
Good
the guy.
job. Good job, little buddy.
This is the same man that said Tika sucks, and here we
Oh,
are.
yeah. Look at that. Look, he's growing, man. He's growing as an individual.
As you know, Ryan, I recently got out of the Army. Just finished my contract with the Army Reserve, so now I'm finally able to be an individual.
Thank you for your service.
No. Thank you for your cervix.
My cervix?
No, I said service.
I have to thank my wife for hers.
No,
Good Lord.
And you were a medic, right?
I was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, seen a lot of things I wish I could unsee. Luckily, these eyes aren't too wide.
No blood splatter.
Yeah. There's been a few times I got some blood on me, but
You ever get any sticks?
not accidental. All of them have been intentional.
Hey, we're not fucking on that Silencer Shop. You need to let them know.
Oh, fuck.
We're not on Silencer Shop's dealer finder.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into it after
Hit
this.
them up.
I just updated that too last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
It might be me.
It's definitely Jake. We need to go over all the coatings real quick, especially the Pride Month one down on the end, Jake.
Well, I just think talking about the OG in general. So today we are going to push this podcast out probably tomorrow on Saturday, 5/24, which is out of the norm, but we want everybody to be ready for the OG. If you haven't signed up for one of our mailing lists, you will get an early purchase link. So if you're serious, make sure you do that.
Mm-hmm.
That can be Unknown Munitions, Unknown Suppressors, or Rock Slide, or Shoot to Hunt. Any 4 of those mailing lists will get that early purchase link. Otherwise, they will go live on Monday, June 2nd for everybody that doesn't have a link. We will be offering 5 color combinations, maybe it's 6. 6, I'm lying. So you have black, raw out of the oven, which can mean it looks like any way that it came out of the oven. Could have some rainbow in there, could have some burnt look, it's
like a snowflake. There's none that are the same.
Yeah, it's up to the oven what you get there. So we'll try to pick out the cool ones though to keep them on the side for the raw choices. We also have blasted titanium, which has no coating on it. It's just the blasted look. It looks kind of silver. Black, orange, OD green, FDE. And I thought we had wolf gray in there. No, not gray.
That's it.
Okay, so it is only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the raw. So that would be one thing to know what color you want before you do your purchase, either on that early link or on June 2nd.
Now, if you don't mind me jumping the gun here a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Are we going to be offering custom Cerakote for these suppressors?
Yeah, I think after this initial run, once we see how many cans we sell through midnight on June 2nd, basically, if we sell, well, we're only going to be putting a limited amount in stock. So if we sell out, then it would happen later. If you really have to have that custom color and laser, we're probably going to charge something like $129, $149, somewhere around there. If you purchase one and we happen to sell out and you really need to have that custom color, or just email us if you're willing to pay that fee. And I'm sure there's something that we can do for you. Eventually, we will have a large line of cans. There'll be, 10, 15, 20, 25 different types of cans. And they probably will have all that service available at that time.
Mm.
We're starting this business with one laser is the problem. It's a problem and it's not a problem. So what we can tell you is exactly when your fucking can will be done with a relatively copious amount of error margin built in. So in other words, if we're going to sell out 6 months of production at 70% capacity, that leaves a lot of days of failure, which we don't anticipate. But what it means is that we're going to be either at or ahead of your delivery time that you'll get. So one thing you will get to see when you check out, if we run out of what we have in stock, you will get a time window. Hey, and is it going to be 1 week or 2 weeks? The time window for when they get their suppressor, is it 1 week or 2 weeks? 2 weeks. So you're going to get a 2-week window of when your suppressor will be done. And like I said, we may beat that time, but you're going to get to see that on the checkout page when you're paying. So you can make the decision, do I want to wait until that date? And you go into a long list. Everything is automatically put into a production schedule and you're assigned your position. And then as your order progresses, you'll be able to log into the website, go to your user account, look at your order, and it will tell you the status of your order at any time leading up to it being completed. I think that's pretty awesome.
It is.
So yes, that answers your question about the custom stuff.
Yep.
The other thing you guys should know, so the OG that's coming out that we're talking about is the 3/4 inch and smaller barrel. So if your barrel is 0.750 or smaller, this one is for you.
Make sure you measure your taper, because
Now we do have a generous we have a generous amount of room there for a taper. We're talking 750 at the muzzle, but if it's like a fucking 30-degree taper, it's never going to work, obviously.
Yes, wherever your that 4 inches at the end of that 4 inches away from your muzzle is 780. It's not going to fit.
No, 830.
Or sorry, 830. 830 fit.
So we go from like 750 to 0.830 on the taper inside there. So if you want to measure 4 inches back, be 830 or smaller.
Yes.
I hope I'm right about that number. I think
that seems like a lot, but
more than likely, I'll probably get phone calls about it later. Don't worry.
Hold on. Mason, I need a digital caliper. Digital caliper. We're going to measure this shit right in front of us because our production can. So we'll have a caliper here in a minute just to make sure. But 830 is the number, I believe. Again, only selling so many, but we have entire control of every fucking part of this process, literally from titanium powder to a can that's delivered to you ready to shoot. So we have control. We understand the whole quality control process. We understand how long each part takes. And we'll be looking at delivering about 100 cans a week. That is our goal. But that's also at full capacity. So that's not accounting for the 70%. So let's just call it 70 instead of 100. But we will be looking at about 100 a week is our goal.
Yeah, just so the people listening, watching, all that can kind of get a little bit of insight. I think it was like probably a week ago now, Jake came up to me. He was like, "Hey, can you submit a Form 2 for our first batch?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got you, man." And literally a couple days later, he's like, "Hey, another Form 2.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm about to tell you right now, another Form 2.
Oh, look at that, guys. You're on camera. Third Form 2 for our production stuff.
So what that means is every time we should have explained this earlier, but there are 4 forms on Easy Forms for suppressors. Is that correct?
Technically, there's over 20.
Well, let's just call it Form 1 through 4, which is the ones that we're used to using.
All right.
Okay, so Form 1 is...
That's going to be the creation of an NFA item by an individual.
Okay, so if you decide you want to make a suppressor in your garage and you want to bring it over to Unknown Munitions to get serialized with a laser, and then you want to file your paperwork for this thing that you made yourself, that's a Form 1. A Form 2 is us applying for a design of a suppressor along with serial numbers we're going to use.
Question of the week, powered by ADG.
We were talking before about neck tension and bullet pull, and it's a mathematical formula, a function of these 3 things. Bullet pull is. Well, when you look at the consistency of bullet exit, it's going to be a mathematical function. When you look at the brass, you're looking at the brass dimension inside, where it's seated, where the bullet is, how much my free bore is, where everything is sitting, and
from bullet to bullet, you're not even very good.
Bullet specs from bullet to bullet. And the cleanliness of the primer pocket, the hole diameter, if the hole's clear, right? And you aren't affecting primer sensitivity. So you're not like setting the primer so it's igniting weird, but you're still getting a solid impact on the primer. It's the effect it's going to have on the rest of the equation, sending that bullet out, is like this little bitty amount in this equation. Right. However, if you get to where you start affect, what Greg was saying, if you get to the point where you're starting to affect the sensitivity of the primer because it's got to crush because there's crap in the bottom of the primer pocket before it actually can indent and ignite against the anvil inside the primer, now you've got a situation where you've just made that a big factor on your consistency. So it's one of those things. It's like normally for normal, probably not have to clean it. For if you want extreme consistency, then yes, you should clean it. But for the normal guy, probably don't. But if it gets excessively dirty, if you look at it, then it needs to be cleaned.
A Form 3 is a dealer-to-dealer transfer. So when we transfer up to Ryan's buddy in Alaska, we will file a Form 3, which gets approved usually same day or next day.
Typically.
And that's for a SOT to an SOT. And then a Form 4 is the paperwork that you do with your SOT locally to make that suppressor yours. That's pretty much it for those.
Yeah, and typically the only ones that people are going to see in their life is a Form 4 or 1.
Yes.
Like
the other stuff is just for manufacturers and dealers.
Yeah. Like and most people they won't even see a Form 1 unless they want to do an SBR or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So
you want to measure some of those?
Yes.
So to go back to the OG, like I said, we have full control. You guys are going to have the ability to look at the status of your order. I've been asked several times if this is going to be a order for an in-stock suppressor or if it's a back order. We will have hundreds that are ready. Now, how long those hundreds last, I won't be able to say. So depending on when you get in line, you may have yours literally shipped as soon as the Form 3 is approved. What that means, again, so you understand, if you were on a what'd you get?
849.
849. Okay. So we'll just stick with my 830 number after he does a few here. I think that was the goal. If you are one of the first few hundred people to get on and order an OG, hopefully with the early order link, get on the email list, you may have your suppressor shipped within a few days. That's a reality. So then it would go to your SOT. You would do the Form 4 with them. Once your Form 4 is done, Silencer SOP is saying the average wait time is 7 days for an individual. So you can have the suppressor in your hands, like owning it within a couple weeks of your purchase on unknownsuppressors.com. That's pretty cool. And then again, now you know what our production capacity is and how many we will fill each week. We're just going to say 70 to allow for our error margin. 70 a week. So if you're number 1005, it'll be 70 a week from there, and that will be your date range. Yeah. So we try to do our best to, I think everybody's used to paying for a suppressor ahead of time. It's kind of been normal operation because of how long it takes. So basically, when you buy a suppressor and we assign a serial number to you and that serial number is transferred to you, you own it at that point. Whether or not your paperwork goes through on our side, the can is gone. It's your can, right?
Well, in a way. If you want to get real technical,
don't give me no real technical loophole shit.
Then I'll say yes.
Keeping it basic. Keeping it basic. So because we assign you a serial number and that serial number is laser engraved onto the suppressor, that becomes yours as far as we're concerned. And once it leaves, it's gone. So that's the reason for kind of paying up front is it's paying for a unique item.
Yeah. And I don't know. I would say that the most important thing you can do for yourself right now is get in this game as early as you can. Like, even if things pass in the House and Senate and however the government works, I did not pay attention in school. The sooner you get in here, the sooner you're going to have it in your hands. Because there's no guarantee this is going to pass in Congress or wherever it's at now. And there's no guarantee that if it does pass, how long it will take until it's actually in action.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would say this. I mean, I'm sure that if it's called the Big Beautiful Bill, I think from Trump. So obviously it's Trump's bill, so he's already approved it. He's going to sign it, right? It's already been through the House. It's behind the Senate. If the Senate approves this, it's done, right? So if the Senate, if fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan, Senate approves it, it will become law at some point, right? Like you said, I don't know how long it takes to enact that. If it really does go through, I'm sure that us as Unknown Suppressors will come up with some plan. We may even give you a $200 rebate, if you continue to buy, if you're worried about your tax. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure that we'll come up with some type of plan to help you guys out that are worried about it. Because in the end, it's going to help us out anyway. So, yeah.
There's a lot of rhinos in the Senate, so hold your breath.
Yes.
Another thing we need to talk about is on Monday, we are going out to do some final DB testing, and we're also going to shoot it against a Sky 8-stack, just because people keep asking for comparisons, and an Ultra 7. So we'll have all that information on Tuesday on the website, unknownsuppressors.com.
So as of this moment, the website is live. We do have some numbers representing what we expect. We have 131 dB as the sound threshold, and I've also had this asked. Where was the measurement taken?
That's at the ear.
Yeah, any posted decibel reading for a suppressor should be taken at the shooter's ear because that's where it matters to the shooter. It doesn't matter, the guy that's fucking 10 feet away, what did he hear? You're worried about what you're going to hear because you're buying the suppressor to shoot it, right? And then we have the weight at 10.8 ounces. That's a good opportunity to bring up now the manufacturing process for printed titanium. We will be having a warning label on the outside of the sealed plastic packaging, basically explaining to you that if you see some sparks out of the can initially within the first 100 rounds, this is normal operation. There still is some titanium powder residue inside the can. Because the can is 100% sealed, other than the inlet and outlet, we are not 100% able to remove all particulate. Once you shoot the can, it'll break in. You won't see any sparks anymore. If you happen to hear something inside the can, maybe some residual particles came loose during transportation, something like that, you're welcome to shake the can to remove those, but just know that you cannot break this can. This is not like your can falling apart. We've already fired 33XC through this OG can, which is 1,000 times more pressure than, it's not 1,000, but you guys get the points.
We put 100 rounds of 300 Ultra with a 20-inch barrel as fast as we could do it.
Yes.
And it didn't blow it up.
So just, this label's on there. Make sure you read the label and just follow along. And once you break it in and you don't see sparks anymore, you won't see anything. But there's a good point to bring up. That also means that the weight can slightly vary, a tenth of an ounce one way or another. Right now, we're quoting 10.8 ounces on the website. On Monday, what Ryan started to talk about there was we are going to take number 1 through 6 production OG cans. They're going to shoot them. They're going to weigh them. And the average of those numbers will be what's posted next week, which would be Monday 26th. So probably Tuesday the 27th, the actual numbers will be listed. What other questions have you got on specs on the can? So it's 8 inches. 8 inches. It's 4 inches over the barrel, 4 inches in front of the barrel. Now the 4 inches in front is in front of the very end of your barrel, not the crown for the threads. It's in front of the barrel.
Correct. I think we need to keep educating people. We did not design this can to be the quietest can on the market. It's designed to be the shortest in front of your barrel, so your overall weapon system is shorter while you're hunting. And it really does a really good job in the DB side, but it also, and people argue this, but it's a thing. If you hear lots of cans being shot, that hollowness, this can has it in spades, and that's the sound that I like to hear.
The tone.
The tone, yep.
We're already getting feedback from our testers basically saying it's fucking quiet, but it's not quiet really because of the DB. It's because of how your ear is interpreting the tone of the can.
Yep. And it's not going to be the lightest can, but I will tell you this, carrying it around now for like 3 months, it balances out your rifle. So say you have an 18-inch barrel and you put this on there, so you have a 22-inch overall length barrel. That 4 inches that slides over the barrel makes that rifle carry so much more balanced. So it's noticeable. I gave it to my wife. I gave it to my son. We went hunting nilgai and pigs. I said, carry this one for a while. That was in front of the barrel can. Carry the over the barrel can for a while. And both of them said, oh yeah, this balances and feels nicer in your hand. So it gives you a perceived lighter rifle because it is more balanced, and that's hard to explain until you feel it.
It looks sexier too.
It does look sexy.
It's shorter and fatter.
And everybody's like, you need to fucking put wrench flats. You need to do that. No, the way it looks real good.
Yes.
I think
it's minimalistic.
Yep.
And it's literally one printed piece with no accessories of any kind.
It's monolithic, dude. That's why it's so tough.
One solid piece.
Yeah, monolithic. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so hard to break.
Yeah. Okay, so that being said, it's only coming in 30 cal. Now, we will be coming out with several variations of the OG. The next one would be the 1-inch barrel version. So if you have a carbon barrel or a fat steel barrel, we're going to release that next one once we almost finish production with this first round of sales, if that makes sense. So we can't determine how many cans we're going to sell. If we sell out 6 months of production, that's going to delay the release of any other model. But what it will do for you is if we do sell out 6 months worth, we will immediately have another laser delivered, which will cut that time in half and which will move forward all the delivery times for the subsequent models that we'll be coming out with, which are many, to say the least.
What I'm hearing is if you want your can fast, buy multiple.
Yeah, the more cans that are sold, the more cans we can print, basically. That's what it's going to work out to. If you do have a carbon barrel and you're waiting for that, I can't even tell you when we're going to release it because it all depends on the existing sales of the first OG can. And that, again, applies to all the other subsequent models that will come out, too. So we will have a competition can. We will have a 338 can. We will have 22 cans. We will have some other features that have never been seen on any other can in the world coming out. I'll just say it like that. We don't want to give too much details yet because we're working on a patent. But there will be shit on suppressors we're doing literally that no one's ever seen. Pretty cool.
Patented.
Patented.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
patent pending already.
Patent pending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that would be the OGL is the one for the carbon barrels. If you do have that big barrel and you need to wait, like I said, I can't tell you exactly when it's going to come out, only that will be the next model coming out.
I would say go the other way. Just buy a rifle for this suppressor and buy one of these.
Rebarrel your rifle or buy a rifle just for the OG.
Those new fucking Tikas are perfect. Just go buy one of those.
It is. Like, so they come 5/8 24 threaded now. Okay, that's another thing we didn't talk about.
Yep.
5/8 24 threaded on those new Tikas if it has MT on the end of the part number. And this will screw. We've already tried it on production Tikas that are here. It screws right on and it's perfect fit. They do come with 5/8 24 threads internally. And we do have a specially made 1/2-28 adapter that has a tool available. It won't come with the tool when you buy it, but it'll have an available tool to remove it if you need to. In our experience, the guys that are going to put these can on a hunting rifle are not really going to be removing it. Most hunters are very superstitious about their hunting rifle. They don't like moving shit around. Once it's working, you leave it the fuck alone. So that's why we didn't include the tool with the adapter. You can buy them together, obviously, if you want to.
In the Avery household, it was quite the debate about taking the can off Tanya's the hog rifle.
Fuck, if I was Tanya, I said, don't fucking touch it.
I said, we got to fucking try it. This is a can we help fucking produce. We have to. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it is like, once you put it on a rifle, you leave it on there.
Yes. Yeah. It's a fucking, yeah. If it's your rifle, like I think there's different types of people with the amount of rifles they have. Most guys have like their go-to rifle, and it's the go-to rifle you don't fucking touch. So that's the reason behind the decision process of the 5/8 24 and the 1/2-28 adapter and then not coming with a tool and so on. But all that will be live on the release date. We also have a beautiful suppressor cover, which is not in here right now. Hey, Luke, can you give us that one suppressor had the black cover on it, or find one of them covers, please? So I just put those covers on the website. As a matter of fact,
LS Wild, they are really nice suppressors for hunting suppressors.
Yeah. Owen is live making changes to the site already. He's going to add a shop button once he fixes the store real quick, and you'll be able to see that cover. But that cover weighs fucking 0.7 ounces, 0.6 to 0.7.
And it freaking fits like a freaking glove.
Yeah. So it's super thin. There are no belt buckles, straps, or any kind of attachments. It's made to fit the perfect size. The other thing that they did is they sewed in the barrel side just a little bit so that you don't get that slide forward action when you're shooting. So they give you a little extra material there, so it's going to come around your barrel a little bit. But dude, it's a super slim fit, which I think makes it look better, and it doesn't have all the extra shit on there. And
it does. And I was shooting the other day, and it was getting real hot on 223, and you can just slide it back real nice and easy. Put it right on the edge.
Yes.
Let the suppressor cool down, and you can slide it right back up.
There you go.
Yep.
We have
it's almost like a condom. It just fits.
Were you there when I told Jake what we should name it?
Uh-oh.
I said we should call it the Uncut.
Oh Lord.
The Snuffleupagus.
Good Lord. I remember you said that. I just called it the OG suppressor cover. I'm the PC business site. But yeah, whatever you end up wanting to call your cover, in my opinion, seeing this cover and having owned several other manufacturers it is the slimmest, sleekest option without bullshit on it. Like, it goes just with the idea of this minimalistic can as it's a minimalistic cover.
Dude, just like the can is 400s by hunters, that suppressor cover is 400s
Absolutely.
by hunters. Yeah.
So LS Wild's making them for us, even though it'll have an Unknown Suppressors kind of fabric tag on it. He has ensured us that we will have 50 of each color for the June 2nd release. We will have orange, FDE, OD green, wolf gray, and black.
Badass.
Yes, I agree. It looks good, man. They took my 657 PRC out for the photo shoot with Cliff's black can with the black cover on it. Fuck, it just looked good.
It does. It's like it's perfect, meant to be.
So you can get the adapter if you need it to 1/2-28, and we've already been asked, are you guys going to do 9/16? No, because basically it turns out to be like a helicoil. There's not enough meat to do 5/8 and 9/16. It's not going to happen. I would tell you, whoever fucking threaded your barrel 9/16, you should have a talk with them, because that's just retarded. So
I don't even know why you'd even consider
yeah,
that.
it's either 5. So it's 3/4 24, if I'm not mistaken, 5/8 24, or half 28. It might be 3/4 20. Don't quote me on that one. But those are the 3 normal. And in fact, so our comp can is going to be a 3/4, because that's what guys tend to go with now with all the meat on there.
Well, those are fucking, the big stick is a big
Yeah, that one too. So will probably be 3/4 with a 5/8 adapter if you need it. Probably be end up how we go that route.
It's quiet, but it's also a pound.
Yeah. The 338 count's fucking huge.
Big guy.
Yeah. What else about the OG?
That's about it. I think we covered pretty much all. You said it's 308, right?
Yep, it's 30 count only. We will be coming out with options in the future. I am going to tell you, I don't know if we'll have a threaded cap on one. I don't know if we'll have a muzzle brake on one. We may have one that's just the front 4 inches, because that's all she can take. We might have just the tip.
Another question I got, and I don't see why it won't work standard wise. Cleaning it, you can still fill it full of CLR, and I'm sure it'll.
A lot of questions about the cleaning. Yeah, all you literally to fill a bucket, get a fucking shoebox size bucket or whatever, something that'll fit the suppressor, fill it up with CLR, let it soak.
Same way cleaning all the
you
other
blast
ones.
it out.
Yep.
That's not going to change anything, but part of the reason why this thing is so fucking strong is that it's one piece. There's nothing else like that.
No,
on the market.
I mean, there's other 3D printed cans that are tough, but this one is remarkably tough with the 33XE. I've blown up a few 3D
6
printed.
rounds.
I've blown up another 3D printed suppressor.
I told somebody else that somebody had to have serious balls to be the first one to be back there pulling the string. I said, yeah, Ryan's not the smartest cookie, but I made sure I hid behind him when he pulled the fucking string, dude. I was like tucked back in there with my camera. Let Ryan take the shrapnel.
Oh, fuck. And it took it like a champ. It didn't even fucking bend or even break the front end cap. It's not a cap, it's one piece, but that's where it like bulges most of the time.
Yeah.
Took it like a champ.
And then Keaton and Taylor fired 5 and 6 off their shoulder.
Yeah.
So it's a monster.
Strong back, weak minds.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think that's about everything.
Yeah.
We do have some Willy Wonka golden tickets.
The golden tickets.
There are 3 golden tickets that will be inside of any of the suppressors sold from opening, which is the early link, up until June 2nd at midnight. Any suppressors that are sold, they're going to take 3 random generated numbers for those serial numbers. Number 1 Willy Wonka ticket gets a pass to any of the shoot to hunt shooting schools, which is worth, somewhere between $3,500 and something else more.
$6,000.
$3,500 to $6,000 is what that's worth.
Yep.
The second prize will be another can. If you want to wait for another model to come out in the future, that's fine, but it'll be good for any Unknown Suppressors can.
Mm-hmm.
Third prize will be the new
Terratorn.
God damn. Terratorn. I think we're just calling it Terra for short. Whatever you want to call it. It's our new Shoot to Hunt EXO partnership bag. Collab bag.
Yep.
That will be out July 1st.
It'll be on July 1st. It'll be on sale.
I thought we're supposed to see some of these already. Or is he bringing them Monday?
Monday.
Monday in 3 days. We will have those in our possession if you want to see one at the store in Unknown Munitions.
If you go on Rockslide, the testers are already posting and talking about them.
Okay, so there's pictures.
There's pictures.
Pictures online on Rockslide. And then, like I said, if you come anytime after Monday afternoon, you can see one inside the retail store, Unknown Munitions.
Yep.
We can actually probably, I don't know if I want to say we'll take pre-order, but.
For those?
Yeah.
I hate the word fucking pre-order.
Yeah. But if they're coming out, if we take 100 pre-orders, he already told us he can get us as many as we need, basically.
Oh, he said he'd crank out 250 real quick. So.
Yeah, we'll come out with details on that and let you guys know, but we'll do some type of pre-thing if you want to come see it in the store and then put an order in.
Yep.
Yeah,
and it's like I said, it's just like this can. It's for a particular reason, and it is for cold weather hunting.
Yes. For me, it's like the idea behind the design was the walking backpack hunter who stops in glasses, moving around and doesn't want to get everything out to find one thing. It's like your puffy, your tripod, your Beano, like your spotting scope, all your snacks, all your basic shit was easily accessible without taking everything out. That's what I got out of it.
If you hunt it long enough, you notice when everybody stops and we start glassing, or we're just sitting taking a break, it becomes a fucking yard sale on the mountain of shit all over.
Like how long did it take to start glassing?
Yep.
That's funny about, because obviously I watched the Meat Eater stuff when he was doing his videos, right? Mm-hmm. That's something I always notice about Steve Ranella is that Every time he stopped, when it took him like 3 seconds to start glassing.
Yes. So this bag gives you what you call economy of motion
Yeah.
to be able to get to glassing as fast as possible. Oh, and guess what happens when you stop in cold weather? You get cold, so your puffy's also accessible without getting into the main bag. It's very purposeful.
And if you're like Ryan, you can't go 15 minutes without a snacky snack. So.
Well, I do like snacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snacks in general.
Yeah. That's why I like hunting with Mason or my wife. I'm like, snack me.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't like hunting with me. The snacks are around us, not with us.
Oh, the horse, the dog.
Good Lord. So wrong.
Fucking you.
I think I got everything.
We covered all the bases. And that'll be, and people keep asking me this. Me nor Jake have any influence on the golden tickets. We don't fucking know anything about them, so we can't, there's no,
Well, basically, Luke did a good video. So, Luke and Owen are going to do the random generated numbers for however many serial numbers have sold. Yeah. Right. So they're just going to take 3 random numbers. Then they're going to make sure those tickets get in there. And whether or not you happen to see, the ticket is big. It's literally going to be wrapped around the suppressor. If you happen not to see it for some reason, we'll reach out to you, but we will know which cans have it.
Your SOT steals it.
Yeah, it's going to be inside the sealed plastic bag that's like hermetically heat sealed.
Yeah.
So if they happen to open that bitch up and then take your Willy Wonka ticket, we'll know it's not theirs. We'll know it's yours. So
Indeed.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. Get on those newsletters if you're not on one of those 4, or be a Rockside member because you get a little early present.
If I was serious, I'd make sure I was on all of them.
Yep. Absolutely.
No.
Yoon, do you have any parting shots?
Buy more stuff.
Give us your best joke.
I won't tell a joke, but I'll tell a story. Before we started this podcast, I mentioned to you I have a pretty great story about me being a medic.
Uh-huh.
So, shit you not, there I was. I was in Central America working the clinic one day, and we get a call out that someone did a full amputation of one of their fingers via Humvee door. And like, if you've never seen like an up-armored Humvee, like that
door is fucking heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me hurt.
So, we're like, cool, we'll be expecting him. I don't know how long passes, but they finally show up and they're like, hey, we saved the finger. And we're like, oh, that's great. That's great. Where is it? Because we want to try to reattach it. It was his index finger. That's a pretty important one. Well, seems like that they thought the best thing to do was keep it body temperature. And you know what you do if you want to keep something body temperature?
God.
Put it in your butt?
You put it in your ass, dude.
They did.
They did.
They stuck his severed finger in his butthole.
Yep. They told him that it was the only way to save it.
Did they at least put the wet end out?
Oh, no, dude, it was fingernail in first.
Fingernail in first.
Yeah. But when we went to see if we could just pull her out from back there, she was in there.
Did they put it in a condom first?
No, dude.
No protection.
Raw finger.
No protection.
Yeah.
Probably dry too. Motherfucker.
The old prison wallet.
You think they licked it a little bit before they sticked it?
Yeah, I think it would have been the real bad buddy move to just
so
spit on
nasty.
The question has to be asked, was it a male or a female?
It was a male.
Oh God.
Just had to ask.
That's fucking wrong. That's a good
wait a minute. Who did you pull it out?
No. We had to send him. We had to send him somewhere else. We didn't have those capabilities.
Yeah, attaching a finger ain't just like I'm going to sew the fucker back on and make sure it's lined up right.
No, that finger, she gone. He's going to go home to his family. He went home to his family, and when they asked what happened to his finger, he had to say, "I shoved it up my ass."
There was some movie where the guy just tried to sew the finger back on, but just literally just lined it up and sewed it on.
Close enough.
A couple weeks later, you can literally see it's dead on the end, and it's starting to necrosis is starting to seep into the rest of the hand or whatever. But you can't just sew it back on.
No, it's probably a process.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. And usually when severed limbs came into my shop, I usually took them home and boiled them.
It's bone broth.
Well,
I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Is there a natural hatred for Asians, like a South Korean that you don't like Chinese?
Oh, in between Asians.
Yeah, like interracial or
interracial hate.
Hate, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't think I would do this on the podcast, but I want to say I lived most of my life here in the U.S. I have never stepped foot in Japan or met that many Japanese people. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know. I don't like the Japanese. It's in my blood. It's in my blood.
Okay, fair enough.
I've had quite a bit of experience with Japanese people. And when I say non-American Japanese people, right?
Mhm.
And that's because I spent so much time in Hawaii for my last job.
Mhm.
And like Oahu and things like that, Waikiki are big visiting. So everything is catered to the Japanese. They have like, Japanese menus and things like that. And it's definitely a different type of culture. Personal space doesn't really apply. I'd say some other thing. I'm going to be the PC part of this, but it's different.
On that, I have a friend in the Army who was Laos. He was from, not Vietnam, but it's Laos. Is it Laos or?
I think Laos is in
Laos.
Laos is not a country. I think no.
What the fuck is the name of the country?
You've known me for like half a year. You should probably know by now. I'm a white guy in a minority's body.
wow.
Don't ask me these questions.
I think it's. I can't.
It's
think
a
of the
country in Asia.
It's but right next to Vietnam. You
Yeah.
should know. He probably listens.
It's the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia.
Laos. Yeah, and he also. I said, "Is there any other Asians that you don't like? Like you always think of Chinese, because it's super communist." Blah blah. He goes, I fucking hate Japanese people. He said the same thing.
Mm.
Yeah,
that's right next to Thailand.
If I had to guess,
there you go. You can visit it.
If I had to guess, I grew up here in Idaho. I grew up in Southeast Idaho, Idaho Falls. I was literally like one of 3 Asians in my entire class growing up. And like the whole time, like people will be like, "Oh, have you seen this anime? Have you watched this anime? Do you like anime?" And I think that's kind of where it all started. It's like everyone just assumed I was like into that kind of stuff. And
you're a redneck.
You're not?
Asian.
Oh, dude, I prefer yeller neck.
Give us a little Pikachu. Give us a Pikachu.
I don't know. Pikachu.
Good Lord.
We are definitely getting the state.
We're off the rails now.
All right, we're gonna do the end. We're out.
All right.
What I tell you, man? That's a good podcast, huh? Hey, next time I tell you something, you better listen up. Make sure to leave them boys 5 stars.